Welcome, everybody, to the Watchers Digital Network. We have a super cool episode coming up for you if you are cool enough to watch it or listen to it. Drew and JC are here again, and we have an awesome guest that I am, as always, going to let introduce himself because I'm a dyslexic idiot and will stumble over it and ruin it and make him hate me. So
I find that hard to believe. My name is Miles Crossman. I'm a writer and director and producer. I live in rural Manitoba up in Canada, and I don't know. I guess we're here to talk about filmmaking. Probably. I don't know. I guess I've had my hand in a couple hundred episodes of true crime television. Do a lot of that stuff, and I've got a new film out. It's my first time directing a feature film with The Princess and the Dragon, and so I'm just super excited to talk to you guys about it. And you know what? We've just been a labor of love over a couple of years trying to get that out, and I'm just excited to see that that's finally come out and to talk to other people about just independent filmmaking and all that type of thing.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Hey, you're excited. We're excited. So we can, we'll start with that, and then we can kind of see where everything goes after that. But
I kind of wish we would have actually talked about we had some banter prior to the recording here, just about random Canadianness. It was almost fitting, but I'm on my way to Canadian Tire here in a short second, so it's about a 3.5 hour drive for me.
You go
I'll
to
meet you guys
Canadian
there
Tire?
in the morning. No. I mean, it's basically, it's like Home Depot, kind of like what we have.
A little bit. There's no lumber section though, so I would almost say it's closer to a Walmart in a way.
I think
there's
you
a
might.
home
I think
section.
you're right. It is
There's still
closer
an
to
automotive section. There's all those things.
I don't
know.
We have what we call Menards here in Ohio. Go ahead and make the jokes.
Been to a Menards.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a Menards.
That's kind of a similar thing. Yeah.
Do they sell Tool
albums?
I was
in Minot.
Tool albums?
Yeah, get it?
Because I don't.
Maynard. That was.
I'm hitting. Yeah, I think we're good, guys.
Tool reference.
That was good. Someone out there,
somebody
out there's laughing their asses off right now.
This is if anyone actually laughed at that, you can unfollow us.
But before we get too sidetracked, he's excited. We're going to talk about his movie, and from there we can get into all of our zany craziness. But
well, dude, I'm kind of stuck on Tool right now. When that Parabola album came out, that video, I sent it to my religious studies professor because I was like, "This is what you guys are really talking about." We were doing some unit on Gnosticism and
deep spiritual.
Yeah. Why are we learning this in class? Just wasting our time. History of religions. Who even cares? I can read. You can read. Let's talk about what's happening.
Let's talk about Tool, man.
Dude, Tool is having a resurgence. That guy, that climber guy, I don't know, the free solo fella. He listens to Tool. He listens to Tool when he does his crazy.
Is that the guy that got his arm stuck in the rocks and he had to cut it off?
No, but he was also listening to Tool.
I was wishing he had a Tool. I would at that moment. 50's a rock.
I would cut my own arm off if I had to listen to Tool. Although I
more
was
of a Pussifer guy.
Undertow and Enema are good albums. They lose me a little bit after that. Lateralis is okay. It gets too pretentious after those 3 albums.
That's fair.
That's kind of his thing. So, there's a lot of pretense with Maynard James Keenan.
Yeah. But yeah, wow. I don't know how we
What
took
an
Tool
opening.
down.
What an
Yeah.
opening.
Please don't sue us, Maynard James Keenan, by the way, MJK. Please
So
He's
tell
fine.
us
He's
about
fine.
your movie.
Well,
Hey. Welcome on.
Princess and the Dragon. Okay, so I just came back from Liverpool. We won Best Horror Movie at the Liverpool Indie Awards. It's pretty exciting. And our
That's awesome.
film is
Liverpool, UK, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I survived Seal Street with my 19-year-old daughter, as a 45-year-old man. It was amazing. I'm not going to lie. Like, birthplace of EDM, like there must be 20,000 people just like in the streets having the funnest, best time of their lives.
Are you into EDM? Because right now they're having that EDM festival in Las Vegas, and there's like 50,000 people that are showing up for that.
You know what? Like, I sure used to be in the early 2000s, but it was never, I think I was more into drugs than I was into the music.
I think that's most people that are into EDM.
Maybe that's what everybody's thinking. Yeah. But yeah, so we were there for that. Our film it's about a young woman who she wakes up inside of a seemingly abandoned asylum. And she finds a storybook that she has to try and piece together as she's making her way through the asylum, all while being chased by an axe-wielding dragon. And, the film really is, I guess, a treatise on what it's like to live with bipolar disorder. And there's a lot of layers going on. We kind of, I kind of want to leave it with that at that point. It's not like, I don't want to say it's an experimental film because it's not, but it's also it does not follow. It's a modern fairy tale that tries to really talk about agency and how we feel about, I don't know, old and new viewpoints on mental health and all those types of things.
And then
Some people love it, some people hate it. Most people think it's okay. So it's like a real movie.
Yeah, you have like the cool deep themes, but also you have like a mask wielding kind of a like almost like a slasher villain to help you tell that story, and that that'll appeal to other people as well.
You know what? I really just want, when you set out to just make a fun movie, you're like, yeah, let's make this fun horror movie. We put this film together. I was sitting at GMB Jimmy Chuck and Jonathan Ball's office. This is in downtown Winnipeg. And I get a phone call from a friend of mine. Jeff Gregoire, who ended up being one of the executive producers on the film. He called me and said, "Hey, if you want to use my old asylum that I own, then in a movie sometime, then you better do it quick because I'm going to renovate that place." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I have nothing for this." It's like, you got about 5 months to throw something together. And I'm like, I have nothing for that right now. And Gregory across the table sort of like reached in his drawer and slid across a script, a short story called The Princess and the Dragon. He described it to me a little bit, and I said, yeah, I think I love the title of that. Let's meet out at the building next week. That was October 29th. We met the following week at the location. We basically took their short story and just went through the abandoned asylum. And it was an old tuberculosis sanatorium. And we just basically wrote kind of scene by scene by scene by scene how it was going to go or what needed to happen. And then we filmed in January. So really we went from short story, about a 15-page short story to filming the movie in about 3 months.
That is a fun turnaround. Like, okay, so you got 5 months, make a movie. There you go. You did it in 3. So that's
well, it becomes, when is everybody available, right? So how can I get anybody who's half decent and knows what they're doing? It's like, well, when aren't they busy? Well, they're not busy in the middle of January when it's -1 million up here. And so have no illusions. The sanatorium is not heated in winter. And that's, yeah, it was freezing in there. We were kind of heating room by room with just a giant, like with the Herman Nelson, and just stuffing the big tube in one window and trying to heat that room before we get to it. And then we have the other tube going to where hair and makeup was.
I assume the heat was so that your equipment didn't die on you, too. You know, that's probably the main.
The first weekend it was minus 31, I think, that whole weekend. Like, I don't know if you guys see that level of cold down there, but yeah, most things can't survive that.
From time to time we see it, but not as frequently as the blue necks do.
You have that, what is it called, that lakefront winter or whatever. I don't.
Yeah, I live in Northeast Ohio, so every once in a while that stuff will come down across from like Western Canada across the lakes and hit us. And it shuts everything down when it happens. Like nobody can do anything. Everything just stops for like a week at a time. Yeah, we're still we still got a little bit too much red on our necks here. But I know a couple blue necks that are familiar.
Well, you know, so when we ended up making that, my good friend and neighbor Eric Felstead, who, you know, really was the executive producer on this film, and, you know, moved mountains to sort of, you know, help us financially to put it together. You know, when he sort of, we've been talking for a long time about, man, we just got to make a feature and we have to make something that's ourselves, like make something together. When after we'd sort of done the initial walkthrough, these guys send us over, you know, about a 20-page treatment, or I think it was 30-page treatment. And we kind of went back and forth with them. And then me and Eric worked on writing out the full script. Over the next kind of month, I'd just go over to his place at 8:00 when the kids were in bed. And then we just put the movie together. Meanwhile, we had just other production partners I met. So Hydraulic Content and Tripwire Media, those are sort of other companies that are involved with the film. But Hydraulic, they came out with their special effects know-how and what have you. And they had just called me saying, hey man, like we need to make something in the next few months, or we're going to lose our filmmaker bonus that you get from the government. You have to make something like 3 productions every 2 years in order to maintain your frequent filmmaking credentials with the province. And so I said, well, you're in luck. I'm making this movie in a couple of months here. If you guys want to be involved, then let's do it. And they're like, absolutely. And so they sort of lend a lot of their expertise to make it happen. And, you know, all the blood mats and all that stuff that, you know, you just don't even really think about until you need it. And they had it in spades. So that was just awesome.
There's a lot of tax credits and stuff for filmmaking in Canada, right?
Oh, man. So Manitoba has probably the best tax credit in the world. They'll do a 65% of your Manitoba labor. You'll just get a check for it at the end of the year. So as long as that was taxable Manitoba labor, and you spend $100,000 on that, just for example, they'll write you a check for $65,000 for that.
That's sweet. Well, that explains why every production in America went up there.
Yeah, but so they do a lot in Winnipeg, where they have, and I mean, I guess that's like the maximum you can get if you're outside of the you know, outside of the major city. You'll get like a 5% rural bonus, and you'll get a 10% frequent filmmaker bonus. And this was, I think, like a base 55% or a base 50%, and you can kind of bump that up by reaching certain amounts of things. That's what you see a lot of. We had lots of hallmarks made here. Little hallmarks get made up here, like, I don't know, I think they do probably 10 a year.
Those are some of JC's favorite movies. Not even
Hallmark.
Not even like joking. Like he loves Hallmark.
The Christmas movies are the greatest works of film produced yearly on a massive scale with such a low budget.
Man, they're made for peanuts. Like they really are. They're made for like 500 to $1 million.
Them out. Yeah.
They do, like we do a lot up here, and I don't know. Like I know a lot of people love to hate on them that, you know, talk about the formulaic making of the film. But I mean, well, then what is a slasher film? It's just as formulaic as you know, as a Hallmark. Oh, guess what? The scared girl's might live.
There's just, you know, slightly less gratuitous nudity and violence in a Hallmark. That's
for sure. But I mean, it's just their audience. I don't know. My parents have them on all the time, and I honestly feel like a Hallmark is the most reflects my life. Like I shut down my construction company to chase a dream, to make film, and now here I am. I don't know.
Do you think that was easier for you to do because of all of like the health of the film environment in Canada due to those tax credits and stuff? Like,
I don't know. Honestly, because I don't work on large scale stuff. I mean, of course, like I work a lot with a company called Farpoint Films. We make tons of true crime documentaries. We're in our third season of Ghosts Off Grid. We just did UFO POV. Working on another project I don't know if I want to talk about. And I think all of these things are probably getting greenlit because of those tax credits. I can't speak to that because that's not the level I work on on those productions. But I don't know. At some point, I think it must be. I mean, that was the whole point of putting those things into place. But you know, there was a fairly decent filmmaking infrastructure going on before those were put in place. I mean, of course, it just keeps growing year over year. And I mean, the good people at, you know, Manitoba Film and Music are working their butts off to try and keep it rolling. You know, how many people does the film industry employ in our province? Like, I couldn't even tell you. It's got to be in the thousands. But I mean, further to that, when I think about, like, for me personally as a filmmaker, I know I find it difficult to get. I still find it difficult to get my own stuff funded. Like, yes, we made a feature film. Like, so I produced 2 feature films, but those are what, $10,000 movies. We made one in COVID, one during COVID because everybody had had some time off and what have you. And so basically, what else are we going to do? It's like, oh, well, let's make a movie in this one little postage stamp of an area that somehow is overlooked. And we knew some people who had a farm there, so we just made a movie on that farm.
Oh shoot! I'm sorry. I didn't know Drew was gone.
I'm like, oh, what should I talk about? Oh, I'll carry on. Okay.
No. You're good. I wanted to ask, just for any of our listeners or viewers, the UFO POV. Can you tell us a little bit what that's about?
Oh, okay. I love this show, man. So I was a senior story editor on UFO POV, and this was the dream child of producer Scott Leary at Farpoint Films. And the idea is you have a real, like, an eyewitness account of it with footage of a real UFO sighting or encounter. We have an astronomer, a geologist, some UFO people, some UFO professionals, and a theoretical biologist. And we mix all those perspectives together to try and decipher and figure out what the UFO or the aliens are seeing and what are they looking for. So why are we bringing on a geologist? Okay, so what's there at the site? So we're figuring out what's in the area. We talk about the minerals and what have you that makes up the geography or the geology of the space. We take exactly what the person saw and how that was being represented to them, and we get our astronomer to kind of arbitrarily assign a planet that we're going to base our UFO POV off of. So we would, say we use I'm trying to think of the one that's being in the news a lot, but I'll say Trappist 88E or something because that's one I can remember right now. And we get our astronomer to talk about what's going on that planet, and then we get our geologist to talk about what's going on in geologically in the space where the sighting happened, and then we have our theoretical biologist basically decipher how those things might work together to create what we're calling the UFO POV. So it's like, okay, so if we have a planet that has these minerals and has this type of, is made out of this type of material and is probably, has this kind of surface area or this type of surface atmosphere, what have you, and then why would they go to this place over here on Earth? What is unique geologically here? And that really can inform us as to what somebody saw, or as to what somebody might be seeing, or what they might be looking for in the area.
The concept of this show hits really hard for me. A couple of reasons. So, number one, we love paranormal content. We started as a paranormal show. I basically set out to be the next Art Bell when we came up with this program. Number two, I have a UFO experience. I am an eyewitness to a UFO phenomena. I did research on it as far as we had MUFON involved, and checked flight records and stuff. And this is slightly before drones, and so I had footage.
Do you have any footage?
I have footage. Here's the kicker, though. It's a broken phone. It's an iPhone 5 or 6. It's in JC's possession, and
it's actually,
he can charge it, but because Apple is so right there, it exists on that phone. But because I have to go to his house while it's charging, so I could use my thumbprint to open it up so that we can get the footage. I do have footage of the event on that cell phone, and it was about 45 minutes long, and it changed who I am as a person. It changed my life. I have my personality changed after that night. It was like the weirdest, most cathartic thing that's ever happened, and it's really hard to explain. But yeah, so the concept.
What did you see? What was did you see a craft? Did you see a being? Did you see an orb of light?
Here's the kicker, because this is one of the things when a skeptic would be like, well, you didn't see what you thought you saw. This happened, I believe it was 2017, July 4th. We had literally finished watching fireworks or something, and I was working in home health, and I had a client that I was with that I was transporting, and we're walking back to his house, and then suddenly just this light goes up into the sky, and I'm like, oh dude, there's more fireworks, let's stop and watch these. And it's exactly that. It's like this white orb, and it comes up and it just kind of stays, and I'm thinking this is like a Chinese lantern or something, and then it stays there, and then it starts to kind of do a figure eight kind of motion, and it is an orb, and I would say it's mostly white, maybe a little yellow in there, but it's just like a white orb. And then as we stop and we're watching it, we're like, what? I don't know if this is what we thought it was. It pulls apart, and then there's two orbs, and they're going like this. And then it pulls apart, and there's three orbs, and they're doing, and it's not close. They are zooming across the sky, zooming back, doing all of these figure eight type things. And I'm filming it on that old iPhone, and we are still walking to where he lives, and we get there, and he has a housemate, and I have a coworker that's inside. And I'm like, hey, I run in, and I'm like, hey, what kind of phone do you have? Because I have an older one, and there's this crazy shit happening out there. And she says to him, she's like, "Hey, it's back." Like they saw it too throughout their journey in the night. So they come out, and the four of us are just watching, and for 45 minutes, this thing is just like doing what, and then all three come back into one, and then dart off and disappear. And so,
Wow.
yeah, and like the whole time I'm watching that, some people get scared when they're in, like, but I had no fear. It was actually quite the opposite. I felt like I was compelled. I saw that because they chose us to see it. Like I saw it out of the corner of my eye, not by chance, but because I was in that right place at the right time, and we were meant to have that experience. And it gave me like this weird peace that I still have, like, almost like a religious experience.
You know, it's interesting because you're not by any stretch of the imagination the only person to mention that, like that feeling in that moment.
Yeah,
and that sort of the spiritual thing. And I mean, honestly, I think most of the people that we interviewed for UFO POV had a similar feeling.
Yeah, that's
whether that's just a way of like, I don't know how that communication would be happening. Like whether, like, I try to imagine, how is a being that's that technologically advanced able to communicate with you in your spirit or you in your body to trigger those endorphins that are making you feel that way. So is it a frequency that's being emitted? And then that frequency is somehow, like, that's how they're communicating with you, or ostensibly with each other, and through frequency and through sound. And maybe it's like not on the audible spectrum, because we don't think about, obviously all frequencies exist in a spectrum, like all those waveforms, and perhaps just in a way that we can't measure, or in one of those frequencies that we don't perceive, and then that would trigger that, because that the communication. Did the other people have the similar feeling?
No,
that you were with?
that's the crazy thing too, because especially the person that I was like caring for, he would fall into that, kind of, he was scared by it and was trying to rationalize why he wasn't seeing what we were seeing. Like he was kind of going through the, this is not happening kind of phase. And, because he almost, like, the fact that we were witnessing what we were witnessing challenged what he believed, his whole life, of what, reality might be, or religiously, or, like whatever he was dealing with, like the existential reality of the fact that we just saw what we saw. And he had a completely different experience than I did because of that.
It's funny. My mom is my mom's a practicing Jehovah's Witness, and I remember when I was working on the show, I asked her, I was like, what would you think if just suddenly, aliens showed up and what have you? Like, how would that affect your religiosity? And her response was like, well, it wouldn't affect it at all. It would just show me that, God is so much bigger than anything that we can think of or imagine on Earth. And either creation is everything or it's not. So if you think that God's the highest power in the universe and that's what you believe in or whatever, that can't just mean that it's only on your little planet and you're the chosen one in your little specific faith. That's crazy talk. It's either, it's the creator either creates everything or he doesn't. So that means including aliens. And so when those aliens show up, they'd still be underneath that auspice of, of omnipotence.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of people really struggle with grasping. And, we're starting to get to like these weird disclosures, and especially now, that's the new distraction down here, is the UFO files that came out, last week, and they have not. They're pretty disappointing. When they were hyping this up, it was really feeling like they were like, "Yep, it's disclosure, it's happening." And you're just like, this is the same crap that we saw in books in the 1950s. Like, there's nothing new here.
Yeah, they've been doing the same thing for 60 years, hyping it up, and then it's just like it's a dead cat body that somebody put a dress on.
Yeah,
it's like the star thing. I watched one of the videos like this, like a star that was like floating in front of one of their planes, and I was like, well, yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. It's pretty compelling, but it wasn't like a mind blowing. I'm expecting a Romulan war cruiser. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
like to uncloak,
yeah,
right there.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for.
Don't drag us into Star Trek talk here, because I'll go on for another 3 hours.
Well,
I got
time. That's
we talked about this like before we came on, the UFO POV show. It's on Super Channel in Canada, and it's also on Blaze TV in the UK. But we were trying to figure out how you could watch it here in America. Well, I just figured it out. It's on Apple TV. If you have Apple TV, you can just go and watch it. Like, I have it teed up right now.
Yeah, what's really funny about that is last week you specifically pointed out that his work was on Apple TV. So,
well, that's when we were going to originally have him on.
Yeah, no, you actually already solved that a week ago. Forgot.
Yeah, I forgot. Well, I can't remember what I did yesterday, let alone what I did a week ago. So,
no worries, man. You're in good company. You're in good company there.
Yeah, my memory is that of a rock. I won't even say an animal, because I think most creatures probably have better memory than me.
So,
well, yeah, go ahead, Drew.
No, you can go. You can go. I was.
I guess when we really started thinking about doing like, so I'm charged with sort of working with all of the writers as we start trying to come up with how we're going to put everything together. And a lot of the times, like, we had a guy named Mike McMasters on our show, or Mike McMaster. He was our theoretical biologist. And he had some really great, his sort of overarching theory that he presented, I believe he has a book on this, was that the aliens are us from the future that have like come back to either warn us, or I don't know. Like, I never kind of got to the end of why they would cut, why the I guess why it would be so much cloak and dagger, right? To not just like tell us. But that was sort of his idea, was that, oh, well, if maybe it's us from the future, either to come and to tell us to, not squander our resources or what. But I just thought that was, really interesting. That I don't know, I had never really thought that, and that's really interesting thought to me.
It's always kind of presented that way, because with that theory, they're from the future. They're coming to warn us. They're trying to fix something. That's always. But I have a different take, and that is the way that the planet is going right now. We're not far away from forests being demolished for data centers. So if these are people coming from the future, perhaps they're coming for our resources. They live in like this ravaged matrix of a world, and we still have the things that they need. So they're coming and taking the resources and going back.
It's our blood. They need our blood.
I don't know. I guess I don't. That doesn't make any sense to me, because then if they were to take the resources now, then they wouldn't have what they needed. I have a tough time with time travel.
Time travel, it's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, I just feel like the paradox exists is the well-known paradoxes of time travel. I think many and varied.
Yeah,
and
we're doing Terminator.
I have a hard time. Yeah, it's like, okay, well, yeah. Anyways, I don't know. I do think that if life exists here, an intelligent life exists here, there are many other much older stars and planets. And I mean, like, you think about the Goldilocks zone alone, which, that we can see, that we have identified so far. There's somewhere between 6,000 different planets that would have liquid water on their surface. So we could sort of consider that Goldilocks zone where liquid water can exist. And what we consider, based on our understanding, what is the building blocks of life. And so, and these planets that's just within what we can observe. That's within, kind of 1,000, or I want to say up to a couple thousand light years away, that we can really observe that. And as far as I know, and far my understanding is of it, it goes on quite, forever. And so the chances of these much older stars existing, the light that we're just receiving, the amount of time that it took for that light to get to us, for us to perceive that, would already say if it's 1,000 light years away, that's 1,000 years. What was going on 1,000 years on Earth? We were still we didn't even have a combustion engine. We were still sticks and stones, swords, riding horseback, living in castles. This is people, there's still subsistence livers, like Native Americans and Aboriginals around the world, still living in those kind of hunter-gatherer societies. That style of existence. That was existing on Earth 1,000 years ago. So now, take it 1,000 years on another planet that's already existed for, I don't know, 1,000,000 years longer than Earth, which is not outside of the stretch of a lifespan of a star. Where are they at? If we were, that's like looking at ourselves 1,000 years from now. Where did Earth go? Right? We could see that, and who knows?
I think for me, the weirdest thing about outer space is that, and I'm going to say it's a radiation wall, not the Van Allen belt. We can see past the Van Allen belt. We've been outside of the Van Allen belt, but there is a wall of radiation in outer space that we cannot see past. We can get data from it and formulate computer generated images of what we think is there, but we can't get imagery data past this wall of radiation. And now I'm when I was a teenager, I read about that, and I'm like, well, what's behind that wall? Like giant space monsters? Like what's just hanging out on the other side of this radiation wall? And I was just looking it up to make sure that I wasn't behind on any of the research. Like I said, we have data from beyond it that we can form into CIG, but we don't actually really know what's there other than just like light that's passing through the radiation belt.
It's like we're in a snow globe, right? We're in a snow globe, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, like, what if it's Tim the Toolman Taylor's neighbor, looking over the fence at us from beyond the radiation?
Earl Hindman.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, and honestly, I look at that, and when we think about how we even know what planets are made of, it's not like when we say, "Oh, there's 6,000 M+ planets around that can have water on them." Like how they're analyzing that is one by blips. They know that there's a planet that crosses in front of a star, and they're measuring that distance, and then they're measuring it's not like they can go and take a sample. It's all best educated guess anyways. Right outside of our own solar system, what are you measuring? You're just pointing something at there, and then we're agreeing on a set of parameters and a shared language of how we're going to decide how these things are figured out, and then pretending it's real. Right? But something. I mean, as scientific discovery works, something could happen tomorrow that throws all that out the window and changes everything that we understand about it. Because we didn't understand that we need to be looking at the model like this, and that would change all of the data that we've already collected.
Just recently, we had that asteroid that was passing Earth a couple of months back, and it was reflecting light in a way that had never occurred before, and people had no idea what was going on with the tail. And we're pretty sure this is an asteroid, but it could also be You know,
Oh yeah, they thought it was the big ship or something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
until
it's the ship.
like we're not going to know until it passes by because it's reflecting light in a way that's never happened before. So, yeah, and a couple of years back there was Tabby's Star was also like where we were getting weird light reflections that almost looked like it was a built orb, almost like a Death Star or something that had never been documented before. And that took a long time to figure out. Like that was months of like, I'm pretty sure we found something crazy. And it just turned out to be like a star or whatever. And it was like the light reflecting off of the space dust. But yeah, Tabby Star, that was a fun time in the paranormal. That was like 2015-ish.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's like it was a superstructure around the planet or something that everybody figured. I don't know. Yeah, it's
always a bummer when there's like that simple explanation. What is it?
Have you seen there's an independent film, it must have come out, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago, called Cosmos.
I'm familiar.
It's just about like 3 guys. They're in their car and they're just star hunting, and they're trying to discover a new planet or trying to make contact with it. You know, something really simple, independent film premise, but just a really good film, just about what I felt about what it's really like to be looking at the stars and to be interested in that. Because it is kind of a lonely venture. It's like you and your buddy, or you and, so like you two guys are friends and you're trying to explore that. I have a couple of friends that we would explore that as well. And you feel that crushing weight of loneliness in the cosmos. Like we can't possibly be the only ones, yet somehow we appear to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm going to tie that into, Douglas Adams' book when he says, what's the meaning of life and the universe and everything? Well, it's 42, which is really just whatever you want it to be. And if what we want the meaning of life to be in our lives is the wonder and mystery that is just like the expanse of everything we see, I think that I think of worse things in the world. You know what I mean? Because that's just pretty amazing and beautiful, all wrapped up together.
Yeah, it's a funny thing about existence. Like, it just is, and so we are here by, I mean, as far as we know, no choice of our own. We just exist, and we've, as a society, have manifested, and we just do things, and then we're gone. And something that you do is make movies. So we're gonna...
All right, yep. Reeling it back in here, because we've journeyed far into the galaxy.
We've returned from the cosmos, and we are hitting that that point, and we can definitely keep talking for sure. But let's learn a little more about your movie. The title, like the font you have for it, reminds me a lot of what's his Boris Vahio. I think that's how you pronounce it, or Hello or something. He was the guy that did all of that like fantasy, like the Conans and the Deathstalker. And
okay,
it just looks like straight. It looks very strikingly 80s fantasy to me.
Well, we really wanted to go for that though. Like even the soundtrack, that's all White Bat Audio. We really wanted that kind of heavy, dark synth vibe for that, because the feel of the movie is to place us in that space. And I don't know, for me, because I was born in 81, I kind of have, that's what I sort of remember. I don't know. That's the nostalgia period for me. I don't want to say that's the good old days for me, because I feel like now is the good old days. They never stop. You know,
Yeah.
as your kids get older, Drew, you'll see it happening, and you'll realize that you're inside the good old days right now, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's just what it is. But I when I teamed up with GMB Chimichuk and Dr. Jonathan Ball, they are like Chimichuk is, you know, he's a comic book illustrator and designer, and what we did is we took he took the font that I really loved, and then he turned that logo into something that was wholly our own. So he just adjusted the font and changed it 20% to avoid any kind of copyright infringement, because that's what we're allowed. So it's a derivative of, you know, royal signage font. And at some point when you're making something like that, it's like, that's just what we like. And that's what we love. And we think about the types of shows that we watch and the types of shows that we, you know, that we want to make. And I know that if I see the writing like that, I'm probably interested in that. And that's probably something I might enjoy. And that was, you know, that's the thinking behind it. But when you, I don't know, I could pull the, you know, for me to pull the logo up, but you know, it kind of has the, I think what makes him such an excellent designer, because he also operated, not only did he create the original story, but he's also the production designer on the show, was that logo itself is the whole tale of the story. There's the keys, there's the book, there's the dragon scales, the way everything mirrors itself is the story in itself. And I just feel like, yeah, honestly, a real pleasure to work with somebody who is that in tune with designing things and really thinks about and makes all those design choices purposeful. I think it's just such a elevates everything.
It worked. Like that was something that really pulled me in. It's, you know, for the same reasons, you know, that's nostalgic to me. It's an art style that I love, that, you know, I don't see enough of anymore. It reflects imagery of things that I enjoy looking at and want to see, and so yeah, no, that's one thing I wanted to ask about. It has like this real power metal vibe to it, in a way.
Oh man, yeah. I love power metal, but would you consider Sabaton to be power metal? That's the real question. You're familiar with this band?
Yeah,
I fucking love
absolutely.
that band. I fucking love that band.
Lord. Sorry, I'm not Sabaton. I'm not gonna do it. But yes, absolutely. Good. Sabaton, Man of War. I mean, even Iron Maiden was dabbling in some of the power metal.
I think that power metal is kind of a derivative of Maiden, really.
I agree. There was what was the one? Iced Earth.
Iced Earth. I haven't thought of that band in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big one, at least for like when I was in high school in like the early 2000s. I remember Iced Earth was like a popular power metal band.
Halloween,
yeah.
It's one I'm super into right now.
They still release music too.
Oh, same band too. Same dudes.
Yep.
Still singing the same way he did 40 years ago.
I
absolutely
always use
Sabaton 100%.
I use when I'm driving the boys to football, I put on a good old, you know, Sabaton album to get them pumped up.
If there was ever going to be music to get somebody pumped up on, honestly, Sabaton is probably one of like the top 5 that I would choose.
I just don't understand when I hear guys listening to like rap music or something as pump up music. I just don't hear it as pump up music. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about that musical style. Obviously, it's a lot of like talent. There's all the great songs there. For me, that's not pump up music. It's not like driving beat. It feels like more relaxed music.
Yeah.
But I love anything that's mixed with classical music. So I listen to a lot of classical and a lot of, like, I don't know, electronic classical music. And yeah, that they definitely scratch that itch for sure.
I mean, Sabaton shows up at their live concerts with like a tank on stage. I mean, all their songs are about like the Crusades, like World War I.
Every song is a former battle.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like you can't beat that.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
They're not power metal, but now I got to get an opinion on just because of that stage performance. What about Amin Amart?
I don't know that.
I might not be pronouncing.
Oh,
it
like
correctly.
the Celtic like death metal band, Amon Amarth. Yeah,
Amon Amarth. I've heard it.
I actually
ways.
don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, I have too.
But I feel like, do they have the like that other writing, like the really scratchy writing? Because I feel like that's taken us to another step of metal.
They're definitely closer to that than they are to the power stuff, but they do a lot of like everything that they do is derivative of like Old Norse travels. Like
it's all
Viking
Norse
metal.
like mythology and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they started like 1990, 90, 94, somewhere in there. And they're just kind of now getting big in America because their stage shows like incredible. It's like Iron Maiden levels of like intricate.
Amazing. I don't know. I was a pretty big Maiden fan when I was, when I still was still into bands and went to concerts.
Oh, I love Maiden.
I was just at one last night.
Not Maiden though.
Not Maiden. No.
We're going to Maiden in Hershey in a couple of months.
Yeah, we are.
Really?
I've never seen them. This is my first. Dude, listen to Iron Maiden with Megadeth opening.
Boom.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's gonna be it.
I do have. There you go. It's an Eddie tattoo.
Eddie.
Oh
Nice.
shit! Yeah.
I think from the Brave New World album. It's Eddie in the Clouds.
Yep. I tried to get. I can't remember his name because we're gonna bring it up right now. The guy who designed Eddie, who created him, did all of their artwork. I tried to get him to come on, and he said that he, like, as of last year, quit doing interviews. So we just missed him, but I don't even think he's like, that old. I just sometimes it feels like that's a nice way of telling you no. Like, I got that from him and Sven Gulli. So, I think that's like Rich Koss is like one of those dudes who's like, he'd probably do interviews if somebody bigger than me asked him to, but I'm kind of retired from that portion, but thanks anyway.
Maybe he's just not into it. Maybe he's just not into it and not feeling I don't know. Could you imagine having, I don't know, you guys have been doing this for 3 years now, you were saying. If he'd been doing it for 20, he might not be feeling up to it.
I feel it. Yeah.
No, true, but
I get it.
I mean? Like, depending on how big somebody's ego is, I have someone like that on, and I'm just gonna just kiss their ass for 45 minutes, like, this was awesome, and this was awesome, and this was awesome. So, I don't know,
maybe he's on making new art, and he doesn't want to talk about old art that he did 20 years ago or 30 years ago. He wants to talk about the new art that he's doing, and it's like, well, if I show up, how can you grow as an artist if you're always being, I don't know,
this
boxed into something?
This asshole's only gonna want to talk about Eddie stuff that I drew in 1980. I can't deal with another one of these clowns.
Doesn't he know I have 7 pieces in the Louvre?
Well, they all got stolen at the last break-in, so.
Fair enough.
But,
okay, well,
all right, brother. We're gonna go ahead and.
We went so far off. Yeah. Where this so we're gonna have to have you on again.
Yeah, man, you're
absolutely,
very,
man.
Very fun to talk to.
Thanks,
Before
guys.
we get
In the early 2000s, there was this saying when George Bush was running against John Kerry.
Okay.
It was, who would you rather have a beer with? And that's how people voted. And I'm not going to get political. I'm just saying that was an actual thing. Like, who would you rather have a beer with? And everybody said George Bush because he's the Texan, you know. Everybody wants to have a beer with George Bush. I'm going to tell you right now, Miles, I want to have a beer with you.
Oh, thanks, man. That's awesome.
And by a beer, I mean like a 24 pack of like Molson.
Okay. I don't know that I'm ever that thirsty.
Labatt Blue. That's my Canadian.
I'll handle most of them. You can watch.
You bring up Labatt Blue. Like, I would say, like, how about some OV or Club? You guys.
OV, I'm familiar with.
Club.
There are awesome independent breweries in Canada, by the way. For anybody, if you ever go, like, please actually go to the independent breweries because there's great beer. Steam Whistle in Ontario is like my favorite, and they're kind of getting like a little bit outside of the independent because they're getting a little bit bigger, especially when they started shipping beer across down to like Chicago and that. But that was my favorite brewery for a long time.
Well, we still have, so right here in Brandon, we have Section 6 Brewery. They're great. They have a few, and then we have Black Wheat Brewery as well. I really like their Empire Ale. Those are that's like
there you go.
5 blocks from my house.
Boom. So if you're ever in Manitoba, go there. And also, what are you doing in Manitoba as an American?
Making a movie because you're taking advantage of our incredible tax credits.
Exactly.
Okay, I will say, so if any of your listeners are interested in watching The Princess and the Dragon, we're on Apple TV, we're on YouTube, we're on Google Play, we're on Vuvu, I believe, and some other stuff I don't even know what they are. If you're looking it up on YouTube because that's what you have access to, you want to probably dial your thing to over 20 minutes, and for movie, because otherwise you're going to get a whole lot of children's cartoons and it might be difficult to find. But there you go. Yeah, anyway, guys, it's been a real blast talking to you. I appreciate that you had me on your show, and that's just exciting and fun.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to plug?
No, man. I feel thankful that we live. I don't know. I feel like we're living a pretty blessed life. That here we are, just hanging out, talking about this, and not playing. We're playing this game and not playing Where's the Mortar Gonna Fall, which
for now,
not yet.
Could have just been born somewhere else, and it would have been different, right?
Yeah, absolutely right. Great perspective. Thanks for coming on. I hope everybody checks the movie out and follows your work. JC, go ahead and play the outro that you insulted an hour ago. My unfinished outro.
I thought the intro was great. I was enthralled.
It's crap. It's fine.
I'm really into Miami Vice right now, if you can't tell from
he played GTA Vice City for like 10 minutes and was like, this is what I want our intro to be.
I discovered Miami Vice, man.
I see you driving around in a Lamborghini.
In a Lamborghini.
Okay. Cheers, guys. Have a great day.
I didn't have time to pin it. There it is. Sorry, it hits so fast I didn't have time to pin it. Yeah, thanks for coming on, Miles. It's been great. We'll have you back on again.
Okay, cool, guys. Cheers.